Yes, so welcome everybody to the webinar on how to select a future-proof CMS in 2021. Hi, Tjerk. Hi, Peter. I'm the host of today. I'm Toon Németh. I'm the marketing employee at Prepr. But I'm not alone here. I'm here with somebody I work very close with over the past few months. Bernard-Jan, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Bernard-Jan. I work at Prepr as a product specialist, and I work a lot with clients to look at how they can increase engagement with their content and how their systems can help them do that.
Yes. So let me head over to the introduction. Well, first of all, this webinar is being recorded. That means that you can watch the webinar afterwards if you want. And it means that if your name appears in the chat, don't worry about that. It won't be visible at the actual recording. So yeah, if you cannot hear us well, send a chat in the or send a chat in so we can fix our internet connection. And make sure to ask your questions if you have any, because we love to answer your questions. So let's head over to the agenda. We'll first of all we'll tell you guys a little bit about the challenges and needs of the viewer. Well, after that, we're gonna give you guys our look on the future of content management and tell you a little bit about the trends that we see. After that, we're taking a look at how a CMS fits in content management and how it can be used. And on top of that, we'll explain how a CMS can be part of a digital experience platform and how to select it. The last 10 minutes, there will be an opportunity for you guys to get your questions answered in a Q&A. So make sure to ask them if you like to. So let's head over to the challenge and needs. So we would like to make clear at the beginning of the webinar what we're gonna tell you guys and what questions are gonna be answered. Well, the first question is, what does the future of content management look like in our vision? The secondly is which CMS type is suitable for which application? Third question is, what are the essential features of a CMS? And the fourth question is, what makes a CMS future-proof? So without further ado, let's head over to the future of content management. Bernard-Jan.
Thank you, Toon. And of course, it's impossible to predict the future, but we can look at some trends and maybe let them help us see what the future is going to look like. We've compiled 4 trends, and we think are very important when you are selecting a content management system. The first one is that consumer behavior is changing. This is probably not something new, but it's something we want to highlight nonetheless. Consumers expect the content they want anywhere, anytime, on any device. And they are used to that because of the Spotifys and the Netflixes and the YouTubes of this world that are doing that. And when you are not doing it, then they will go somewhere else and find their content somewhere else. So you have to go along with this consumer behavior. The second trend we see is that traditional marketing is getting less and less effective. Sometimes this is called Generation Z. These are the people that are born after 1995. And it looks like they have some kind of built-in spam filter that makes them resistant to traditional marketing. And this forces companies to find new ways for their marketing efforts. And one of the ways they are doing that, and that's the third trend, is that they are using content to find and engage consumers and reach their business goals. And this is not some lame content. This is often high quality content that they use to engage these consumers. And content is becoming increasingly important for these companies. But there's a catch there, because there's so much content out there, it makes it very hard to get noticed and build stronger connections with your audience. So you have to go about this very smart, otherwise you won't get noticed. And these are 4 of a lot of other trends that we could have included in this presentation that we think are very important when selecting a content management system. And these trends lead us to some of the things CMS of the future must include. So one of the things a CMS of the future should be able to do is to deliver great content experiences that go beyond what we sometimes call publish and pray. And publish and pray is just publishing content with a CMS and hoping for the best and thinking everything will be all right. Well, it probably won't. So a CMS must be able to deliver these excellent content experiences. A CMS must also be able to drive business goals, and this also relates to this publish and pray paradigm that we are trying to avoid. This content must enable you to contribute directly to the objectives of your organization, whether it is more engagement, selling more advertising, collecting subscriptions to your content, increasing revenue in an e-commerce operation, or gathering leads for your business. Your content must help you reach those business goals. And the third thing the CMS of the future must be able to do is to keep up with what we think is the only certainty we have, and that's change. We don't know exactly what this future is going to look like, but something we know for sure is that it's probably changing a lot and a lot faster than we are already used to. And the platform and the CMS you choose must be able to keep up with these changes and not be blocking your innovation. Before we are going to look at how to choose a CMS, let's take a look at the main stakeholders in this process. We've identified 4. There's the business leads, who are concerned about ROI and overall profit of this system and what it brings to the company. Then we have the product leads. These are mostly the ones responsible for a digital experience platform or a website or a combination of websites and apps. Then we have the content leads, who work with content management systems to create content and to publish it across all their channels. And last but certainly not least, we have the tech leads. These are the developers that are responsible for developing the platform, integrating this platform with other systems that you use in your company. And they have a huge say in selecting a CMS most of the time as well. And then we have Sarah. She is not directly a stakeholder within the company, but we still have included her in the presentation. C stands for the audience you are trying to reach with your content. So let's take a look at the context. What are we looking at when we are selecting a CMS? Okay, on the one side, we have your company with all the stakeholders there. And on the other side, we have Sarah, our audience. And we are trying to entertain and engage Sarah through all kinds of digital channels. And we can divide these digital channels in 2 parts. We have the front-end part, and that's where all the consumer-facing, the Sarah-facing applications are. So these are the websites, the apps, maybe the voice-controlled devices you have, or all kinds of front-end-facing, consumer-facing applications. And then we have the backend, and those are all the systems that drive and power these front-end systems and that deliver the right content, the right data to these front-end systems. So we have the backend and we have the front-end, and together they make up our what's sometimes called a digital experience platform, the platform that enables your company to deliver digital experiences to your audience. This digital experience platform can be in different ways or in different forms. It can range from a very simple website to a platform that's able to deliver content across different websites and apps, to a full-fledged digital experience platform that does even more than only content management. Your CMS can be used in any of these situations. So we will look at these 3 situations and how you select a CMS in those situations. So that's the next part in this presentation. How do you select a CMS for content management? And we start with a simple website, the first one of these 3. And then we have this situation. We have one website that we are trying to manage for Sarah and to publish our content on. So now this team needs to select the CMS for this website. And when it starts, the first question is, okay, will our CMS be part of a larger digital experience platform? So in this case, this is a very simple platform. So the answer is no. And then the next question is, do you need to manage content for multiple frontends or just one frontend? Well, in this case, it's only one frontend. So the answer is no again. And then the next question is, how do you want to develop your front-end system? So how do you want to develop this website? Do you have a coder that helps you develop this front-end? Or do you want to do this yourself in a very simple way? I've prepared this slide to show you the difference. So on the one side, we have the situation where no coding is required on the front end, and you would use some kind of template, or what you see is what you get editor to build your website. And on the right side, you have the front end solutions for websites and apps that require coding. Websites are often built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or maybe even with more advanced frameworks like React, Angular, Vue, Next, etc. You can forget these terms if they don't mean anything to you, but I think a lot of you will recognize these terms. So in this case, the first situation we are just looking at the situation where there's no coding required. And then you can choose something that we like to call a ready-to-use content management system. And it will look something like this. You have your website and you have your content management system, and they are more or less the same. So your front end and your content is integrated in one system. It makes it very easy to manage this single website. Popular examples of CMSs like this are WordPress, of course. I think everybody has probably heard of that. I think it's the most used content management system in the world. A lot for small company websites and blogs. And I don't have the numbers with me, but maybe as much as 90% of all websites in the world are powered by WordPress. Another solution you could look at when you want to build a simple website is a tool like Webflow. It's a modern, it's what they say, modern way to build for the webs. When you have a simple website and you don't want to use a developer, you can click and match your website with that. So that's what you can do when you want to build a very simple website. But of course, that's not the main part of this presentation. We are going to look at some more advanced situations. The next one is a CMS for a content platform. We have the same situation at the start. So will our CMS be part of a digital experience platform, an advanced digital experience platform? Okay, so we are still looking at a situation where content is our main focus. So the answer is no. And then we have these same two questions. Do we need to manage content for multiple frontends? Or do we want to develop our own front end? If our answer to one of these questions is yes, we won't be able to use the previous solution for the simple website. When we want to manage content for multiple front ends, we don't want to replicate all our content management systems and have a complete forest of content management systems with all separated content. And if we want to develop our own front end with some of these front end frameworks we just mentioned, we are looking for a different solution. That's what we call a headless CMS. And there are some other terms out there also. You have a coupled and decoupled CMS, but in this presentation, and there are some differences there, but in this presentation, we will focus on headless CMS systems. So what is a headless CMS? I have a definition for you here. A headless CMS is a content management system that separates the front end, and that's the head part of headless, from the content. So there's a clear separation between the view, the front end, the website, and the content. And this clean separation of content and code is also one of the big advantages. It's often considered as a good best practice in coding to separate content and code, not only within your code, but also within your platform, to keep everything scalable and reliable and flexible to work with. So instead of this one system that does manage the content and manage the website and the views of the website, you separate the two. Then you have one content management system. This is your headless content management system. And you have your website. And the website communicates with the content management system through an API. I hope everyone's familiar with the term API. It's the interface with which systems can communicate with each other. And in this case, the website will retrieve the information, the content from the content management system. And headless CMS also makes it possible to manage your content efficiently for multiple websites and apps. As I just mentioned, you don't want to keep adding new content management systems to your platform, but you want to use one content management system to manage the content for multiple websites, apps, and maybe even other devices like watches or voice control devices. And the fourth choice here is even other systems that I didn't think about, but it could be displays on buildings or whatever that are connected to your content management system through the API. So when we look at a headless CMS like this, what are the requirements you are really after when you want to choose something like that? Well, your team has a lot of different roles and they are all looking at it from a different perspective. And I've listed here some requirements that you could think of. This list could be endless. Sometimes we see requirement lists that contain over 300 items. So we didn't want to include all those items here. You can probably find some of these lists somewhere on the internet. But I want to focus on some of the main points. So when you look at it from a functional perspective, like you are a content lead or a product lead, these are some of the things you should look at. Of course, and that's the first one, you should have some kinds of very rich editing environment where you are able to easily create your articles or your content and include all kinds of media like audio, video, social media messages, etc. When you work in an international environment, you really want to look at the localization options and how multi-language content management is implemented in the system. When search engine optimization is important for you, you have to look at how your CMS enables you to optimize for search engines and tells you if you are forgetting things or when texts are getting too long or keywords are not included, etc. Of course, you need some scheduling options and especially important previews, since the content and the front end are separated. A headless CMS won't be able to give you what you see is what you get preview of your content right out of the box. So there should be solutions within your headless CMS to allow you to preview your content before you publish it. Something that some headless CMSs struggle with. Of course, you need your headless CMS to be able to not only manage content, but also you have to look at how you are going to manage images, audio, and increasingly important video as well, since more and more content is video content to reach your audience. Another thing to look at is workflows and collaboration, of course. How can you work together on content with team members? Is there some kind of workflow system? Is there some kind of commenting system that allows you to work very smoothly together? And the last thing we see people find very important is some kind of versioning control that allows you to go back to a previous version of your content. It doesn't happen that often, is our experience, but when you need it, it's very handy that it's there. Then we have some features that we like to highlight. The first one is integration fields. There's often a situation that content you need in your CMS is not stored in your CMS, like it's an external product database, for example, where you store all the products that your company sells, and you want to include this information in your headless CMS. It wouldn't be wise to duplicate all this information, and then you have the situation that you have to manage this information and keep this information in sync in two places. So what integration fields does is that it allows you to connect external data sources and include products or videos or any other data in your content. Now I have an example of that from a client of ours. It's Leading Courses. They have a big database with golf courses, with reviews and tee times, and you can book tee times on golf courses on this website. It's probably one of the only things you can book nowadays. And but they also deliver a lot of content to inspire golfers to find new golf courses. And this is an example of Marvelous Marbella golf courses, and this is the article right next to it on the right side. And what you see here is that they have included all kinds of golf information in golf club information and golf course information in this article. And they haven't typed this information in the CMS. They can search from the CMS in this external database and include the content in this article. And this is something you have to look at if you want to include data from external systems. What we see happening also a lot is product databases that are being searched, and we see video catalogs from media publishers that are being searched to include videos from another system into your content. Multi-brand publishing is something else you want to look at when you have to manage content for different brands. Could be different shows within a media organization, different programs, could be different brands for other organizations. Then you want to separate this content probably for different websites and have an own environment for every website and every brand. But still you want to combine information, maybe metadata or identity information across these brands and content across these brands. And your CMS should allow you to manage content across brands as well. And this also applies to content modeling, for example. When you have an article model that you use to publish articles, you want to keep this consistent across your brands to keep managing these solutions easy. When we look at the more technical requirements for a CMS, I've listed some here. Something developers like to look at is if there's a GraphQL API available. GraphQL API is a standardized protocol for retrieving data from the API. And when a GraphQL API is available, it would reduce the learning curve for developers to use your API. Another thing to look at is there a query and mutation API available? Are you able to use the API to import content into the content management system and not only do it manually, but also automatically? This allows you to set up advanced automation workflows where content from some systems is imported in the CMS automatically. Another thing that helps in automating processes within your platform, and when a platform becomes complex, this becomes increasingly important, is the availability of webhooks and SDKs. I won't go into all these terms and explain exactly what they are. Your developers probably know, and it's something you have to look at. As it stands nowadays, there are a lot of headless CMSs on the market. And most major headless CMSs will suffice in these requirements I just listed. We highlighted some of them. There will be some differences there, but most major headless CMSs will suffice to publish content across multiple websites and connect them to your front ends. But the big question is, are they future-proof? And that's something we are going to look at in just a second. But we have included a quick break here. Toon, maybe there are some questions already from the first part of this presentation?
No, I don't think there are any questions yet. So I think we just go quickly along with the rest of the presentation.
Okay. Let's continue. Okay, so now we are going to look at the third and last part, and that's when your CMS is a part of a advanced digital experience platform. What should you do then, and how should you look at selecting a content management system? So we just looked at the content platform. We're now looking at the digital experience platform. When you look at the digital experience platform, you have really three situations most of the time. So one digital experience platform we see a lot is the publishing platform. That's from media companies, for example, that have a lot of content and use this content to use this platform to publish content for the audience. They really want to engage their audience. Maybe their business model is advertising. Maybe their business model is subscriptions. And then the second one we see is the e-commerce operation. Well, that's pretty familiar, of course. That's where selling products online or services online is the most important thing of your platform. And then we have the marketing platforms, the digital marketing platforms, where most of the time creating awareness for your company and gathering leads is the most important goal. And some examples here are for the publishing part. It's, for example, publishers like The Guardian, but also Spotify. And a client of ours, BNNVARA, which is a large broadcasting company in the Netherlands, are examples of a publishing platform. E-commerce. Well, I didn't want to include big e-commerce platforms like Amazon or whatever that are focusing almost solely on e-commerce, but you have some companies like Patagonia. I've included a example here. And Leading Courses, that's the example we just mentioned already, that are using a combination of e-commerce and content to build their platform. And the content is really used to engage people and to attract more customers. I already showed the screen of Patagonia. I think this is a nice example of a brand that's combining e-commerce and content in one platform to really make their brand stand out and reach their audience and build stronger connections with their audience. So on the one side, this really is a web shop where you can buy all kinds of outdoor stuff. But it's also a place where they really want to tell a story and connect and engage their audience with their vision and to create a better world, or to save our planet even. Okay, when we are looking at selecting a CMS for this kind of for such a platform, we have the same situation again, but in this case, will our CMS be part of a digital experience platform? And the answer is yes. And the first question that comes to mind, of course, is, okay, what exactly is a digital experience platform? So you are going back to our diagram. And when we talk about a digital experience platform, we are talking about all the features that you can think about that you need to connect with your audience through these front-end applications. And I can imagine this is a little bit overwhelming, so maybe we simplify it a little. So on the top left, we see that we have some important content features like content management and asset management. They are part of your platform. That's the content part of the platform. Sometimes you need all kinds of e-commerce features and functionality in your platform, like shop management, product information management, and payment processing. And that's the e-commerce part of your platform. You probably need some online marketing tools in your platform for social media management, ad management, and marketing automation. And that's the marketing part of your platform. And then you have a lot of other tools that help you build these experiences. Like you want to be able to A/B test your content to see what works best, or you need a specialized search solution in your platform to make it easy to find things in your platform, or you want to provide recommendations for people to seduce them to stay longer with your content and consume more content, or you need to gather data on a very specific level to drive personalization for your platform, or you want to send out notifications. So these are all tools that help you increase the functionality of your platform and increase the level of engagement you have with your audience. And last but certainly not least, we have in the center everything that's containing data of your users and your customers. And we have most of the time a customer data solution, a CRM or something like that, where all customer data is being stored. And we often encounter an identity management system in this platform as well. That's where all the login data is stored and where logins are managed for your front-end applications. So this is the customer data part of the system. So here we have all these parts, and trust me, I could make the same diagram with twice as many boxes. So this is by far not complete, but it gives you the most important parts of a digital experience platform. And when we simplify it a little, you could say, okay, it's about content management, it's about commerce, it's about digital marketing, it's about customer data, and some tools that support you in building and delivering these experiences for your audience. Okay, Back to the question, how do we select a CMS for a platform like that? So the first step is to determine the requirements for your digital experience platform. So from all these boxes that are available, what are the ones that I really need? And for example, in an e-commerce situation, you would have a situation where you would like to have these boxes present and this functionality available in your platform. But in a publishing situation, you might have completely different boxes that are important to you, and you would focus on other functionality. So the first thing is, without looking at systems now, is what functionality, what features does my system need, and what are the main functions of my platform, and how do they relate to each other. Then the next thing to consider is, okay, how are we going to how is this platform going to evolve? Where are we going to start, and do we want it to end in the future? For example, in most cases, these platforms are built at once. They are built step by step. And in the content management situation, you see some boxes selected here. That could be in your first step. So you could say, okay, we start our platform with some kind of login because we have premium content, for example. So we have some identity management and customer data management there. And we connect that with a content management solution. And that's the first step. And people can log in and view our content. And then we are going to evolve this platform in the next step. We are going to gather some data and do some A/B testing to understand very well what's going on. And when we have this data, we are in the next step, including some marketing automation to engage people even more, send out notifications, and deliver recommendations for personalized content that people might like to see as well. So this is something you have to think about, because when you select a content management system only for your first step, but you want to end up here, you really want your CMS to be able to grow along with you and to enable this kind of functionality in your platform. So when you have all these questions answered, this is the time where you can select your systems and say, okay, I now know what functionality I need and where I am heading. And now it's time to find a CMS for that. Of course, you need some other systems for this platform as well, but this webinar is all about selecting a content management system. So we won't go into selecting identity management systems or marketing system or commerce systems. We're looking at a content management system. And traditionally, people say, okay, you have two options when selecting a content management system for your digital experience platform. The first one is that you buy a digital experience platform as a whole, a monolithic solution that has all the functionality that you need for can imagine and need for a digital experience platform in one solution. And there are some vendors out there that provide these solutions, like Adobe does this, for example. And you buy one platform and it solves all your problems at once. And on the other side, you have the other solution. And this is something that developers like to look at, is that you have the service-oriented solution, where you have a different system for every functionality in your system. It's sometimes also called the best-of-breed solution, because you can pick exactly the perfect system for every feature in your system. But as you can see, you end up with a lot of systems then. So we have these two approaches here, and the pros and cons of these approaches. So for the monolithic approach, one of the big pros, of course, is that it's one vendor, it's one all-in-one solution. So it probably involves limited development, although in practice this might not be the case. But in theory, this should be an easy-to-use solution for you. Some downsides of a monolithic platform are also that you are working with one vendor, and this reduces, for example, flexibility, and these solutions can be quite costly as well. When we look at the service-oriented solution, The pros of this solution are, of course, that you can use these best of breed solutions. So you can be very picky about what services and what systems you select, and you have the best solution for your situation. And this situation can be very flexible if implemented correctly, because you can replace any box and replace it by a better box that's or include new boxes in your system, and you are very modular in your approach, and in that way very flexible. Some negative sides for a service-oriented platform are that you have to work with many vendors, with also many licenses. A system like this can be very complex to set up and to maintain, and it often takes a long time to implement a system like this. So your innovation speed might be slower than you want to. And in the end, it can be a costly solution as well, because you need many systems, but also you need a lot of developers and development time to get this going. So in our opinion, what you need here is some kind of balanced digital experience platform, and that contains the best of both worlds, and is in between a monolithic solution and a service-oriented solution, and should have the advantages of both solution, and not the negative, the downsides of the cons of the other these solutions. So you have in this case some bigger components that make up the bulk of your system, and maybe you add one or two smaller services to complement the system. And then you have the situation where you have limited vendors and integrations. You stay mostly flexible in your situation. You can innovate quickly, and you get value for money because you have less licenses and less money needed for implementations. Of course, there are some trade-offs in this system. You can't be as picky as in a service-oriented platform. There's a need to balance your requirements with how complex you want to make your platform, and how much money and resources you are willing to spend on it. And when we zoom in on the CMS part of this digital experience platform, there are some key considerations when relating to content management in a DXP and the future. The first thing you have to keep in mind is that features are not the same as systems in a digital experience platform. There are systems out there that combine several features in one system, and these could be very helpful. So you don't need a separate system for every feature in your digital experience platform. And since it's the time of the year, I've included the phrase "beware of the Christmas tree trap." It's very easy to build a big Christmas tree with all kinds of bells and whistles, but in the end, you might end up with a very complex system that doesn't give you the functionality you were expecting. Another thing to keep in mind when selecting a CMS for the future is that the best components don't guarantee you the best platform. It's like a football team where the best players don't make up the best team. You can imagine a football team with only Messis and Ronaldos, but you would probably have a very bad defense and still not win your games, because nobody is tracking their man anymore, for example. So you really have to look at the best platform, the best team, and not the best components to combine. Another thing to pay attention to when looking for a CMS for the future is that you have to make sure the vision of your CMS vendor aligns with your own vision on content management. And this makes sure that their product development stays aligned with your requirements, and that you can evolve your platform in the way you envisioned from the start. As we stated before, it's important to make sure your CMS goes beyond publish and pray, and that it enables you to drive engagement. So we think when you select a CMS and you only use it to publish content, and don't think how you can make this content stand out and engage your audience and build stronger relationships with your content at the same time, you are missing a big opportunity and a very important aspect for the future of content management. And I think it's the last consideration we want to give you in this presentation, is that we think your content management should be enable continuous improvement within your platform. As we stated before, one thing you know for sure is that things are going to change over the coming years in regards to regarding your platform and your content management system. And you have to make sure your CMS provides you with the data and the tools and the flexibility to improve continuously and stay competitive in the years ahead. So here we have it for the digital experience platform. You start with the question of what your requirements for a DXP are, what the phases are you want to go through in developing your digital experience platform, and then you can focus on selecting systems and a headless CMS in this situation. Well, as you know, Prepr is one of the headless CMSs, so I'd like to take you on a little trip with Prepr and show you what Prepr can do for you in a digital experience platform and as a headless CMS. Prepr is what we call a data-driven headless CMS. It combines content and data to deliver digital content, of course, to your front ends at scale for multiple front ends and can be as large as you want. And Prepr also has some additional tools to maximize engagement. So let's take a look at it a little further. The core of Prepr is a graph database. So I don't have the time to go into all the details of a graph database. I think we will host a webinar in the future about graph databases and content management, and it would be very interesting to look at how all this content and data is combined in one system. And that's what we do in this graph database. We combine content and data, and this allows us to build and provide you with a headless CMS that combines this content and data. This headless CMS gives you all the features you need and you expect from a headless CMS. These are the features we were talking about earlier, of course. But on top of that, we also provide you with 5 additional tools. We have Prepr Optimize that helps you A/B test your content, the headlines and the images you use in your content. We have Prepr Capture that allows you to capture all the interactions between your content and your audience. And this data helps you to personalize experiences and also gives you all the insights you need to improve your experience. Then we have Prepr Notify. This is a system that allows you to have people subscribe to your content and get notifications when new content for them becomes available. Could be something like breaking news or special themes you are covering. We have Prepr Recommend that allows you to deliver recommendations, personalized recommendations based on the interests of your audience and the behavior of your audience. And this helps them consume more content on your site, stay longer, and in the end convert more. And the 5th module is Prepr Analyze, where all the data is combined in some handy reports that give you the insights needed, that allows you to see what's going right and what can be improved. And this data you can take to your team and decide on how to improve your content management platform. So what does Prepr do in the end? Delivers content at scale, can help you maximize engagement with your audience. And we think because we are combining all these tools in one smart content management solution, you get value for money there. So it's a perfect headless CMS with all the features that a headless CMS and a digital experience platform should provide. But it gives you also 5 additional tools to build a powerful, balanced digital experience platform. And then we can help you manage these features of your content management, your digital experience platform. You can do this step by step. What we see a lot of clients do is that they first implement the content management part of the system, then start tracking interaction data and collecting data from their visitors and use this data to personalize the content experience of their visitors and increase engagement. So it's a lot of information. I have a quick summary for you and then it's time for questions and answers. So these are the things we were looking at today in this webinar. We had 3 situations ranging from the simple website to a advanced digital experience platform with all the stakeholders involved. We presented a flow chart that help you decide on what situation and how to select your headless CMS. And we talked a lot about the features and functionality of a digital experience platform, the role content management plays in this platform, and how you should look at selecting the parts and the components of your content management platform and decide between a monolithic system, a service-oriented system, or a more balanced digital experience platform in between. And this is what we talked about, how to select a future-proof CMS. I'm not going to restate all these points, but it's about considering the requirements and all the things we talked about, and I just showed you again. And in the end, I think these are one of the main points we want to leave you with, and that's make sure the solution aligns with your vision on content management and digital experience platforms. Make sure your content management solution integrates well with the other parts of your content management platform and your digital experience platform. Make sure your headless CMS is able to deliver the results you want and not only publish content. And make sure your CMS helps you continuously improve your platform and the experience you deliver to your visitors. And that's the end. It's a lot of talking. It's almost 3/4, I see. So, Toon, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Benjamin, for your effort. So let's head over to the Q&A. I can imagine there are some questions. I already saw some questions coming in. The first question is from John. He asks, could Prepr work in combination with an e-commerce system? For example, personalized content based on data from commerce.
Yeah. What Prepr does is it combines content and data. And this data that we are talking about is mostly data, interaction data from your visitors and your customers. And for example, what you could use in an e-commerce situation is that in your e-commerce platform, you gather this data about purchases from your audience and maybe things they were looking at and didn't purchase. And you can import this information and sync this information easily to Prepr, and then use content from your content management system to present that to these visitors, to target them right with the content that they are really interested in and help them make a decision. And this could very well be used for more complex purchase decisions, like you have a new washing machine you want to purchase and you see people looking for a washing machine but didn't decide to purchase, and then you can target them with the right content to help them make this purchase decision. The Patagonia example in the presentation, you should really look at their site. They are doing things like that as well. So they are combining content from the content management part with the products from the product part to give a complete experience there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question, thank you, Benjamin, is what are some of the problems that may occur when I want to add services to my balance DXP? Since you talked about the difficulties that a best of breed DXP could have, what are the problems that occur when the services are added to a balanced DXP?
Yeah, so I think one of the things you really have to look at is in a balanced DXP is that when you want to build a digital experience platform with less systems, and this has some big advantages, you will always end up, or almost always end up, in a situation that some functionality is available in multiple systems. And this is mostly the case for the CRM part of the system. So there are some different vendors that allow you to store this customer data. And then you have to make a decision at, okay, what is the heart of my identity and customer data management solution? And that's something you have to look at very carefully and decide on, okay, one system is leading in this part of the digital experience platform, for example, on identity management and customer data management, and the other systems look at that. So a situation we have with Prepr, for example, is that when we work together with an identity management system, we take the IDs of that system and store that in Prepr to connect it with the interactions that people have with the data. And in that way, we make sure we don't duplicate the data within the system, but we are still able to make a very connected solution that allows you to still use the data from these different systems. But when you make a balanced solution, some of these systems will overlap in functionality, and you have to look very carefully about how you want to go about that and which system is in the lead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Okay, next question is by Peter Janssen. He asks, what if I only want some of the tools that Prepr offers?
Yeah, well, that follows nicely onto the previous question.
Mhm.
Um, what we encounter is mostly two kinds of situations, and sometimes there's a greenfield situation. Doesn't happen that often, but maybe there's a new concept that's being launched and there's a greenfield situation. Then we see that people are implementing Prepr and building it step by step by using all the functionality in Prepr, because we offer a lot of functionality to grow your digital experience platform, especially the content part. On the other side, when there's not a greenfield situation and there are already systems in place, people say, okay, well, you already have a identity management system, or we already have a notifications system. Okay, then we are going to look at, okay, how can we hook up these systems in a smart way that we are not duplicating data in a way that makes it harder to manage, but still be able to provide these experience that they want. And then in the end, what happens that people use, all our clients use our content management part of the system, the headless CMS part of the system, and then they will use one or two extra parts of the system that make it very handy for them, and other parts they don't use, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, yeah. The last question by John is maybe it's also a little bit overlapping, but I just let's answer it. Are the tools of Prepr included from the start?
Yeah, we just launched a new pricing table on our website. So if you want to get all the details, you can look at that, and of course you can contact us as well. But all functionality is available in all plans.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, it's available from the start. And well, I have a little bit of news for you, because since yesterday you can start using Prepr for free as well. There is obviously it's a limited plan, but it's especially for developers. It can be very interesting to try out Prepr in this plan, and it would allow you to use all the functionality of Prepr.
Mm-hmm.
You can, of course, do the content management stuff, but you can also use the notifications and the recommendations and all the other stuff that's in there. Probably need some assistance and support, because can become some complex when you have these advanced solutions. But we are there to help you. And but the answer is yes. Everything comes from the start.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think those were the questions. So let's jump over to the extras. Yes. I at the beginning I said there was a little surprise for you guys. Well, everybody that signed up for this webinar and is watching right now gets a follow-up email, but it's not just like a regular follow-up email, because there's a link where you can sign up to a free 30-minute consultation with our very own CEO, Jouko Huisman. So I think that's very special. And so if you're interested in the product, or you want some advice during selecting a CMS, you can contact us. And there will also be a white paper on Prepr, the data-driven headless CMS, a link to this white paper. And also feel free to send your feedback to us if you have any. And yeah, I think that's it. So for now, thank you, Ben and John, for your effort. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.